read our text for this evening, also our text for this morning. 1 Timothy 3 verse 1. 1 Timothy 3 verse 1. This is a true saying. If a man desire the office of a bishop, he desireth a good work. This morning, we saw that the office of elder is about work and service. It's not about a throne and glory. We saw that it is a good work because it's for God's honour and the edification of the congregation. From the word for elder in our text, bishop, which means literally overseer, we considered the work of elders as that of oversight. The elders oversee the other office bearers, the members. They oversee regarding problems which are generally of two sorts: heresy, or false doctrine, and schism, which is the spreading of division in the body. They oversee also church worship services, and they do all this overseeing together with the other office bearers of the church. In so saying, we noticed that any church members who are not prospering spiritually, nor working for the good of the church, nor preserving church unity, nor prepared to honour and work with the office bearers, are not ready currently for church office. But where you have those living as faithful members, growing in grace, keeping their membership vows which deal with doctrine, life and submission to church government, where you have people developing in the triple knowledge, the knowledge of sin and misery, the knowledge of Christ's great work of redemption treated from Genesis to Revelation, and therefore gratitude and obedience, they are in a position whereby they are eligible to be nominated and in due time elected, assuming that various other things also obtain. And this is, of course, what the council wants. This is what we all want. Now, those of you who for good reason missed this morning's sermon, you can get it, of course, as with all the sermons, on DVD or CD from Sean, or you can listen to it, Lord willing, if we can get it online tonight. And I say this, whereas I don't normally say this, because the two sermons, this morning's sermon and this evening's sermon, go hand in hand and are best taken together. That's the idea. Now, so much for this morning, though we bear that in mind. Having seen what the office of elder is, we are now in a proper position to consider the right desiring of this office. And it is necessary to state at this point that there is a right desire for office, and 1 Timothy 3 verse 1 speaks about this. This is a true saying. This is something faithful and dependable. If a man desires the office of a bishop, and desires it in the right sense, he desireth a good work. There is also a wrong desire for office, which raises the question, well, what's the difference? The difference between the right and wrong desire for office is not one of strength. It's not wrong to desire the office earnestly. You may have noticed that 1 Timothy 3 verse 1 uses the word desire in a good sense twice. This is a true saying. If a man desire the office of a bishop, and that word desire is even stronger than our English word. It means if a man reaches out for it, stretches out for it, and longs for it. If a man reaches out for the office of a bishop, he desireth a good work. And the second desire means long for, wants it. And this is a true, dependable, faithful saying. And it's not just here in 1 Timothy 3 verse 1 where we have this teaching about our right, proper desire for office. We have it in 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 2. There the elders are exhorted, feed or shepherd the flock of God which is among you, taking the oversight thereof, not by constraint, as if someone has to force you to do it. That's not the way to be an elder, but willingly. And the word willingly is the word in our text which means reach out for it, stretching out for it. Do it willingly, not for filthy lucre or mammon or money, but of a ready mind. Ready mind. That is, eagerly. So we don't say, oh, you've got a wrong desire for the office of elder because your desire is very strong and earnest. That's not the difference between a right and a wrong desire. The difference between those two desires, the lawful one and the unlawful one, is that of motivation. Why do you want to be an elder? For what purpose do you want to be an elder? And then we remember that motivation is important with God because, unlike man, He knows and searches the heart. Consider then desiring the office of elder. The key word is desiring. We looked at the office of elder this morning. Now it's desiring the office of elder. First, the wrong motivation, and then second, the right motivation, and third, and more briefly, the implied calling. Desiring the office of elder, the wrong, and then the right motivation, and finally, the implied calling. There are, of course, various wrong motivations for obtaining the office of elder. And you could extend this and say the exact same thing about wrong motivations for the office of minister or deacon, because they're all special offices in the church, so the general principles apply. One point springs to mind immediately and flows from this morning's sermon. Someone who desires the office in terms of wanting glory from that office, but not the work of that office, well, obviously their desiring is wrong. We may even, in this connection, refer to the Diotrephes syndrome, named after a man called Diotrephes in 3 John. And you'll remember about him because he's the one who, quote, loveth to have the preeminence. The Diotrephes syndrome. This is the sort of motivation of the man who has come down with that deadly disease. He thinks, I want to be an elder because I have some brilliant ideas. Because once I'm in office, I'll really shake the whole thing up and I'll show everybody just how wise I am, because I want to thrust myself forward and I want to rule in the church. That's the motivation of Diotrephes, who loves to have the preeminence. This motivation of Diotrephes needs to be mortified and not in any way encouraged, because Diotrephes would destroy the church, as he did in 3 John. He so loved to have the preeminence that anybody who wouldn't kowtow to him, he booted them out, and he wouldn't even receive the apostles. Wow. There are, of course, all other sorts of motivations. I desire to be an elder because I'm getting on in years and I haven't held office yet. Is that why you want to be an elder? Is that a proper motivation? I want to be an office bearer because my mate's an office bearer and I'm older than him, or I've been in this church for a longer period of time than him, so I want to be an elder because I feel now inferior to him. What sort of a carry-on is that? I want to be an office bearer because my son is an office bearer and I'm not, and it makes me feel bad. All these things, at the very best, could be said to be irrelevant. They're not the issue.